So, guys, I want to share something really interesting regarding our language, our numbers, our way of expression, and some discoveries that I've done in terms of etymology. Okay, so I have found the etymology of our Indo-European numbers, 0 to 10, what they mean, using languages that have not been formalized. Okay, so that is to say, I've used the least known languages, European language, to find meanings, and I have found meanings, and I want to share them with you. So you can all test them. You don't need to take my word for it, but you can go and test these words with Old Gheg Albanian. Okay, I know there are a lot of theories regarding Albanian, many myths, many strange theories out there. But in the end of the day, Albanian is the least understood European language till this day, and also the least recorded, which is why I believe I have found the semantics, archaic semantics. Remember that our first languages were symbolic, so they were quite short, monosyllabic. Um, but then with time, as language developed and intelligence or our understanding of reality developed, so did our languages. And so longer words were introduced with time. So the languages that we have in writing today are actually new. Okay, historically, contextually, they're new, meaning that not all languages were formalized, not all underwent massive academical changes or extensions or yeah, grammatical addings and so on. Um, so Old Gheg Albanian, a little bit about it, is the least formalized of Indo-European of the European languages. Perhaps not Indo-European, but the European at least. It was discovered quite late in the academic community, and still remains a big mystery to this day. What is it connected to? Where does it originate? And so on. But my findings suggest that it is linked to pretty much all European languages. And you will come to see why. Because Albanian seemed to have been a really old language, as it still retains its archaic features of the smallest words. Okay, using those smallest words, I have been able to decipher a lot of English words that do not have etymology till this day, a lot of Latin words that do have etymology, but they can't explain it by doing an etymological breakup of the words, while Albanian can. Because Albanian, it doesn't mean, I'm not saying that necessarily that the word are Albanians, but Albanian retains the semantics of old, simple words that are lost to modern languages, so that the modern languages are unable to explain what their simplest forms of sounds mean. But Albanian might be able to. Okay, or so I've found. But do not trust me. Do not take my word for it. Go and test it for yourself. Now, let's go on. So what we have here is, as you can see, the etymology of numbers. Silence speaks, because silence is apparently a big thing. Now, do remember that our ancestors were deeply spiritual, okay? Not in a religious sense. Not in a religious sense. They were very spiritual in sense of being in touch with life, with sense perception, with the breath of the body, with the streaming of the blood and the life and your whole body, your whole sense, your sense of self. Okay, so that was divine for them, and that is explained in our language. So join me on this mythical journey through our ancestors' minds, okay? Because that's exactly what we are doing. Okay, so we go on. Let's just look at first the actual word number itself. It's quite interesting because what we find is we find ne ra, which means ne ra means literally we are falling. Okay, now do keep this in mind. We are falling. We also hear that from the religious myth, fall from grace, which we can appoint to. Pretty much we can now say that the myth of creation is older than religion. Okay, so religion is new. All religions are new in terms of our development. Languages are super old. Languages have taken a long time to develop. Okay, and you will see why. We will come to see why together, and it's quite beautiful. It's yeah. Okay, let's go on. I'm not gonna. Zero, zero, zero. So we have actually quite many semantics here. I've divided the word in ze and z, and then ro and ro. So we have catch, capture, z, ze, and then we have z. Sorry, God, maybe I'm not gonna pronounce these. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it because it just becomes so. What we have is voice, sound, and then for ro we have guard, protect, and then we have ro, alive or life. Okay, so put together we get living sound, we get captured life, we get capture voice, we get voice guard, voice protect, sound guard, sound protect. So what we have here is our ancestors, to make sense of this is very important. They viewed life as stillness. This is very, very important. Stillness is the void, is life before form. There we go. So put together, or zero, even the symbol itself represents a circle around the void. And the void, in our ancestors' view, was the voice. So that is God's voice. Stillness is God's voice. Okay? It's nothing can be added there. This is just really unbelievable. Our ancestors were so intelligent. You have no idea. So we go on. So zero represents the first form. Okay? First form of life. Because it's not yet in form. Okay? But it's captured. And then we get to one. One stands up, is represented by a line as just standing up, so symbolizing the unit, the body. Okay, quite simple. But we also find the meaning listen, feel, or sense. Which then I'm going to just write here, read the idea that nya, one, relates to ni, to hear or sense, reflects the beginning of sensation. Sensation represents the first step in awareness or existence, where the self begins to perceive. Okay, so that is quite beautiful. This is just beautiful, and it will just unravel and unfold for you. Okay, so let's go on. We got more. We got number two. Number two is symbolized by a bent straight line indicating the thought of the process of thought. Okay, so we also find then the meaning di, dia, dia, and dio, and all of these words relate to knowledge. dia, to know. Okay. But it also represents duality. Yeah, you could say that because it's two, number two. So this represents the mind. Okay, this is very important. Duality represents the mind, the beginning of two things, which is also why the number two is bent. It's like number one is bent to it having almost like a half circle around the top, which represents the mind, something in the mind. Okay. Two implies contrast or complementarity, which is essential for distinguishing and knowing, i.g., light and dark, self and other, and so on. Okay, we nailed this one too. Now, number three. Okay, so here we have also quite some meanings. We find the meanings ta re or ta ri, which means the new. Okay, the new re ri is always new. We find this in many Latin words, and we find this in many other words as well. Or that have lost the meaning. Well, we know that even in English, right? Remember, reappear, redo, and so on. But to continue, this is represented by two incomplete circles of infinity, creating the new. Okay, you do know that infinity is number eight, just bent. So we have a lot of symbolism here. We have a lot of symbolism. Our ancestors communicated symbolically. Please do just keep that in mind. I just have no understanding of scientists today that have forgotten that and seem to think that linear be Greek or hieroglyphs were actual alphabets. They were not. They were not alphabets. They were symbols. Each symbol meant many, many things. And it all depended on the context, on the next symbol. The next symbol would be determining what the first symbol means, and so on. And then we will get a comprehensible message. Okay? Whilst today, current knowledge, does not know any of this for some reason. So, yeah, I'm just here to bring the information out. And do please do your research too. Do not trust me. Go and find out. Now, let's go on. Three, being linked to tere, the new, symbolizes creation or growth. Three often represents the dynamic force in many traditions: past, present, future, birth, life, death, spirit, body, and mind, which is exactly what number three represents. At least the last one, but also the first. Yeah. So that's that. Let's go on to the four one. So yeah, we got number four, quattro in Italian, quattro in Albanian, kater. Kater can be split into. Here we then find the meaning ka ter. Okay, ter ka means has, ter means everything. So has everything. Everything exists, in other words. It has everything in it. So existence, it has everything. So this is represented by an incomplete square indicating order and disorder. This is very beautiful. This symbolic language that our ancestors left, that we apparently have been unable to decipher, is quite sad. But we're getting there, so better late than never. The interpretation of Kater, for as Kater, everything exists, fits with the numbers associations with stability and completeness, four directions, four seasons. It reflects a grounding in reality and the tangible world. Okay. So that was that. Let's go on to five. Five, pes, pes, spe. Okay, so what we have here is that the word pes in itself means seen, pes, us. But it also, if you put the S before it, it means did not see, has not been observed. So we find then the two meanings, seen and unseen. And we also know that the five also represents the five senses, which corresponds then with the actual meaning that we find here of this, touch, vision, audio, audio or auditory, and olfactory, and so on. So we have a lot of then. It just corresponds with what we know in other myths. So the symbol itself is represented by a straight line, a curve, and a short tail, indicating motion or fluidity, symbolizing the movement of life, while the straight tail grounds it in stability. So what we see here is pretty much the body and looking out, the senses of the body looking out. Okay, or vice versa, that from the top you get information in, going into the swirl or the half circle in the middle, which represents the number 5. Now we also find pass 5 connected to spa, highlights the interplay between perception and the invisible. 5 senses govern human experience, but there's always an awareness of the unseen beyond sensory limits. So yeah, so 5 represents both the sensory, what can be seen, but also the psyche, what cannot be seen, what can be sensed. Okay, let's go on. Then we got 6, joshed. This can be split into 2 words, oshed, and we then get life exists, life is, or the living thing is. Jaw means a living organism. Okay, so jaw, but it can also mean many other things. It is in Greek we have the word Gaia, which is ridiculously close to the word jaw. Even in old Gheg Albanian, Gheg, which is ridiculously close to the word Grek, Gheg, Grek, very close to each other. Okay, so apparently Albanians and Greeks have a lot in common, more than they would acknowledge. So, just to break any myth that Albanians and Greeks are unrelated, they are not. But to continue on, what we then see is so jaw, it literally means a living thing, an organism. But asht, the second word here, means is. Ash is. We have another word in Albanian for in the past tense. We find ish, ishte. And ish is literally is. The English word is. Okay. While ash became r. You know. Okay, so it just changed the s to r. St. Yeah, it just disappeared. But either way, let's go on. Josh 6 as Josh, life is alive, reflects vitality or essence. 6 often represents balance or harmony. 6 sides of the cube, or a symbol of structure, aligning with an idea of something being fully formed or alive. Okay. But another thing as well, it also might indicate a woman's pregnancy. That's when it also becomes apparent. Okay, it's just a theory of mine. I don't know. Okay, I all these things that I've said have been my discoveries from my own personal spiritual life. That is not a religious life, but also my own interest in finding out the words if they actually correspond to the myth or our current understanding in any way, or yeah, in any way. Okay, so we get to 7. God, sorry, I'm using too much time. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? Maybe you're enjoying yourself. If so, great. I love you. So let's go on. Start 7. Start. Start literally means body, stature. We even find the English word stature, state. State means body. Stat in Norwegian. Stadt in I think it is in German. Okay, I think my webcam got a bit cut there, but let's begin again. Yeah. So Stadt still means the same thing in English as state. Sorry, state, stature, body. So that is literally what even the number seven represents: a body standing up. Stadt 7 is tied to Stadt, connects this number with physical existence and completeness. 7 is often associated with the spiritual and physical harmony, i.e., IG, 7 chakras, 7 days of creation, and so on. Yes, so the 7 is a beautiful completeness in matter. Okay, so let's go on because it gets even stranger and even better, I would say. So we have now 8, 8, åtte in Norwegian, det in Albanian, t. Okay, t. So what we have here, right here, is pretty much what this means is with him. Okay, so 8 is also symbolizes the two perfect circles, indicating infinity and truth. Infinity and truth has always been synonymous and still are, and this is attributed to him, to male, the male principle in existence. Tet, eight as tata, tata with him suggests a sense. Oh, I see. I probably put this on the wrong way. No, actually, this is the right one, and this is the wrong one. Yeah, I need to sort this out. Okay. Suggests a sense of connection, unity, or support from the father. It does not suggest the connection, but it is stating that father is infinity itself, truth itself in form. Okay. 8 often symbolizes infinity or continuity, which aligns with the idea of God in creation as eternal and infinite. Now, when I say, I'm not saying man as in just, I mean, yes, I am saying man. The male principle, not man. The male masculine principle represents the father and infinity. So let's go on. We have then number 9. 9, even today in the English one, hasn't changed too much. We can see here none, none, nant. Na 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 da. Okay, so very many of these forms. So these are the split ups. Okay, the breakups. So and this naturally means with her and represents the opposite of number 6. So 6 is when, which I think, well, this is why I think this is the opposite, because the other one suggests the baby in the stomach, whilst the other one, this one suggests the baby coming out, being ready. So it's represented by the opposite of a 6, a loop with the tail touching the ground, indicating body giving birth, which corresponds with 9 months of pregnancy. Nant, 9, interpreted as Nanta, with her, may symbolize nurturing. May. It does. It's not may here. Sorry, I don't know why I've written this. Okay. Creation or protection. The feminine aspect often represents fertility and life-giving, aligning with the number 9 as the months of human gestation. Right. So our ancestors were beautiful. They created a map of reality according to their sensory perceived reality. Okay. They were highly intuitive. Everything was decided according to how it felt, how it sensed, the sense, the tingling of something. You had to sense it. If you couldn't sense it, if it didn't correspond to the sense and your experience of it, then it didn't have a reality. Simple as that. Not as it is in today's reality, where everything you think could be considered truth, right? Which is obviously not the truth. Now, let's go to the last one. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. We got then number 10. Number 10 pretty much states in when we split it, it gives us the yet, yet, which means gave life or birth life. And it's represented by the unit and the captured void. So number 1 and number 10. So the 0 has been made to number 1. Okay, quite beautiful. So it's an absolute loop. Yet 10 as the yet and life. Yeah. Beautifully ties with the number to the concept of completeness and renewal. 10 often represents both the end of a cycle and the start of a new one, signifying the life giving nature of existence. So, guys, that was it. So, let's go on through this quite fast now. I will give you now all the words together because this is very beautiful. We get a message when we put them all and make them into a sentence. I didn't make a separate slide for that, but I can just say it. Okay. So, we have capture sound. Okay. And then we have the your purpose here, sense, know, the new, everything exists, life is alive, body with him, with her, gives life. So that, my friends, my dear loved ones out there, that concludes our little discovery. So keep in and be tuned for some more words and discoveries as we go on, because I have made tons of them. So many, in fact, that it will have to change our history. So this just can't be a coincidence. But enough about that. All right. Have a good evening.